Thank you, Mark, and hello from London. Okay, unlike last week, this past week has not been a busy and varied week for technical patterns. There were only two weekly key reversals in the markets that I follow. Both were key reversals down and both were currencies. We had a weekly key reversal down in US dollar, Canadian dollar, and sterling against the yen. Now, I'd just like to give a quick shout out to Grant on the latter. As though I do not closely follow sterling against the yen, I rather just keep an eye on it. It shows nevertheless that it is important to people out there, and for that I am grateful. Anyway, of these two, we've had mixed results, follow-on results that is. US dollar against the Canadian dollar has most definitely had a good follow-on lower this week. Sterling yen, not so much. It has had a small pullback up this week, but still within last week's range, but not really showing signs yet of a follow-on lower. As for my commentary from last week on weekly key reversals up in spot Aussie dollar, LME 3-month copper, LME 3-month zinc, Chicago soybean and soybean oil, but interestingly not soybean meal, and the growing favourite of mine, the Baltic Supramax index. Shipping index and a market that equals and sometimes excels Bitcoin in volatility. Well, we've had excellent follow-on moves higher over the last week and a half in LME copper, Chicago soybean and soybean oil. Interestingly, soybean meal was seemingly dragged kicking and screaming higher as a result of those other two. As for the Baltic Supramax shipping index, let me tell you, weekly key reversals do seem to work here. As 5 weeks ago the market had a weekly key reversal down, closing at 1983. 2 weeks later the index closed at 1780, a drop of 11% in just 2 weeks. Then came the key reversal up I highlighted last week, the market closing at 1849 at that time. Well, yesterday the index finished at 2129, a gain of 15%. This not only shows the market utilizes technical analysis, but it works well in both bearish and bullish markets. As for Aussie dollar, not an immediate move higher, but the construction for one is there, and we have traded higher. Looking at LME zinc, well, it was not an excellent follow-on higher as in LME copper. It took a week of ruminating until finally this past Monday we saw a strong move higher. So I would call it a good follow-on higher eventually in LME zinc. As for those weekly key reversals down I highlighted last week, in US dollar Colombian peso, we've not had a good move lower. The market hesitated for a week and this week started higher. Looking back, 2021 had limited weekly patterns here compared to the past, and they're not working as well as they did in 2020. US dollar Thai baht has been a mixed bag. A partial recovery last week, but now a seeming move has started to head back down. We'll see how this move goes. Then there's Chicago lean hog futures, an interesting one. Whilst the weekly key reversal down has not prompted a move lower, it has certainly halted the move higher. Well, almost halted the move higher, one that began back in December. This one deserves observation, especially now for the next pattern that is likely to emerge. Finally, a favourite of mine, which I've commented upon before, it's Bitcoin. I was asked to opine elsewhere on this market roughly about the same time as here. I said I was not happy at the rally at that time, despite being a long-term proponent of Bitcoin. I don't think that was necessarily taken well, but I only said what I saw. It looked to me like a chance or change was taking place, and one of the changes coming after the original question was the weekly key reversal down we had 2 weeks ago. Well, we had an excellent follow-on lower to the weekly key reversal down that only stopped at a thick band of Fibonacci support, notably the 50% Fibonacci line at 46,865. This was more than a reasonable follow-on, and this week's pullback up is evidence of the continuing bullish incentive there, which I've never denied, and possibly the start also of a new pattern. Now, all these have been, once again, my reporting events that have happened and analysing the effects after they happened. Last week I laid out some possible developments that are worth keeping an eye on. These are possible longer term monthly key reversals that may happen in the next few days as we end April. I pointed out that we may have monthly key reversals up in both New York and London sugar futures. These two are especially interesting, and I've made a video early last week and again this week delving into this. We also seem set to have monthly key reversals up in, of all things, Minneapolis wheat futures, though not in the other grains, either over here in Europe or in the US. Finally, I noted a possibility of a monthly key reversal up in both Euro sterling and a very interesting one that, still not clear, and possibly, maybe Chicago live cattle futures. At the time I said, and I quote, "These last two are not clear at all. And as I mentioned earlier, we still have a week and a half to go in these, as well as other ones mentioned. So caution, but keep a wary eye on these." End of quote. Well, looking at New York sugar, yes, we are on for a monthly key reversal, but it is a close run thing. We need a close either above 1753 or below 1477 to make it so. The last look, it has traded lower, just marginally, a key reversal up right now. Well, not even that now, it's well below that level. And we've still almost 3 days of trading still to go. If prices close in between those levels mentioned, then it will be a lesser outside week. Next is London sugar. Here, yes, very much looking like a monthly key reversal up right now. We need a close above 455.10 or below 420 even. Well, last look, you can see where it is, well enough at this time to look for a monthly key reversal up, but obviously question marks. Likewise for Minneapolis wheat. Despite what else is going on, a monthly key reversal up would need a close over 639, and right now we're well above that. As long as it stays over 639, then we'll have that monthly key reversal up. The final two were possibilities. Chicago live cattle. This needed to drop below 116 even to create the conditions for a monthly key reversal. Well, late last week it did, and now we need a close on Friday night either over 123 even or below 120. At last look, it was in the, well, around about a 116.5 area, just below and within the zone applicable for a monthly key reversal done. I suspect we'll watch this one down to the wire. Finally, Euro sterling. Now, this didn't look much like a possibility last time, but it was the opportunity to become one if prices could get up over the key April 2020 low at 86.69. That's between my commentary last week and this coming Friday. Now, when I mentioned it last time, prices were in the low 8600 area and were looking weak. However, since then, prices have motored higher, and we are actually using the 86.69 level as a base of support. At the last look, the market was around about the 8700 area. If this is maintained for Friday's New York close, then we'd have a monthly key reversal up. Interestingly, neither the basic elements of this cross, which is the euro against the US dollar, nor sterling against the US dollar, aka cable, have shown the slightest interest in making such a pattern. I am happy to share my videos, various charts, and answer any questions with anyone who is interested. And with that, I'll finish this section and from London, and hope you've found these comments useful.